everyone. Welcome to this sixth episode of the webinar series on Friday Awakenings. And for the past 5 episodes, I think we have tremendous response for this the Spirituality and Mental Health Task Force, which is conducting this kind of webinar series of webinars. And we have been very fortunate to have the cooperation of all the senior psychiatrists who have been participating in this webinar series very actively, apart from being speakers, and they have been as delegates as well. And we are very fortunate, and we thank the Indian Psychiatric Society office bearers, EC members, and the whole society as well, who have been very cooperative in giving us support, technical support, as well as logistic support, as well as their presence itself, the attendance at every seminar, at every webinar we are having. So we really thank them. And coming to the current topic, it is mainly related to the old age, geriatric mental health, and the role of spirituality. We have chosen this topic over other topics because on 21st of September, we have been observing the World Dementia Day. And on this context, we thought that why not have a webinar related to this old age topic? And it's a very relevant topic, geriatric mental health. And today we have with us the most eminent speaker, Dr. S.C. Tiwari ji. I mean, he's the HOD, former HOD, and he's the one who has instituted the DM, Geriatric Psychiatry, in the Department of Geriatric Psychiatry Department at Lucknow. And we are very fortunate that he has agreed to speak to us today. And apart from him, we have two chairpersons, eminent chairpersons, one from Nepal, Dr. Risal, as well as now we have a HOD of NIMHANS, Geriatric Psychiatry Department, Dr. P.T. Shivakumar as well. Right. So at the outset, I would like Dr. Prasad Rao ji to kindly set the context before, before I introduce the speakers and the chairperson. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Naresh. And it is really, I deem it a great privilege to be setting up the contest for this sixth wonderful meeting of webinar, of course, of the spirituality section. This section is blessed with people who really work dedicatedly. And we have seen for the sake of the newcomers in this group today. This session has done the international conference in this year. They're going to do one more conference. The most important thing is every week, the psychiatrists of Indian Psychiatric Society who are interested, they are taking us through the spiritual journey. On a different context, our own Avadesh Sharma, on whose behalf, or because he's not coming, I'm talking on whose behalf. He is Avadesh Sharma. He is the chair of World Psychiatric Association Spirituality Section. That is, Indian flag is flying high in World Psychiatric Association. Coming to the spirituality and the geriatrics, I pay my respects today to all the elders across the country. I would say this is World Alzheimer's Month. Of course, we are yet to we just crossed the World Alzheimer's Day in a way. But for us, in the geriatric psychiatrist group, or the group of psychiatrists who are interested in geriatric psychiatry, our Pitamaha, whom we call Pitamaha, is none other than Professor Sarvadas Tiwari. He is a kind of a torch bearer for geriatric psychiatry. He started everything in this country for the first time in KGMU. You should see the unit, and I'm proud to be, what shall I call it? He is my mentor, he is my teacher, and I work under him. And thankfully, I'll finish my PhD under him. But that apart, you should go and see the geriatric mental health building. That is a phenomenal building amidst the great King George Medical University. Not only that, he started the Indian Association of Geriatric Mental Health, where right now about 700 people who are interested in geriatric mental health are for the last 17 years meeting, and he started the association. In fact, I can keep talking about Sarada Tiwari Saab contribution to psychiatry, but I think today's topic is more on the spirituality. And I think spirituality is important across the ages. If you may ask me, I would start at 5 years onwards. But each child also prays once at least. Oh God, just see that I would get good marks. I mean, that's a simple prayer which any child would do it. But it at a geriatric age, that is anyone above 60, I think trying to understand the religion's culture, whatever religion, is important. And spirituality and religion is very used interchangeably sometimes. And I'm sure today's speaker, the eminent speaker, Professor Saroda Tiwari, would really elaborate. And on the last note, I would think spirituality is a part of everybody's life. Everyone is spiritual in one way or other. But in the end, our, as they say, all rivers reaches the sea. The famous Sanskrit saying, I think Naresh would complete that. Sagaram pratigachati. All water reaches finally to the sagar. So today's lecture is a great tale to just focus on our beautiful young geriatric age group. Thank you, Naresh, for the opportunity.
Thank you, Dr. Prasad sir, for those wonderful words of introduction to this excellent, probably we'll be hoping to see a great lecture today and great talk from Dr. Sarvada Tiwari ji. Now, I would like to introduce the chairpersons. First, I would like to introduce Dr. P.T. Shivkumar. Can we have Dr. P.T. Shivkumar slide, please?
Lalit bhai, good evening. बढ़िया बस और ऐसा है कि बस सेल्फ कॉन्टेस्ट कर रहा हूँ.
Do we have Dr. P.T. Shivkumar slide, please?
Mention डाल दिया.
Naresh, I think I have not sent a slide. I have sent a brief.
No, we have the slides ready. The slides have been prepared. Sharburi,
लोग और लोग भाई दोनों मतलब निमेश भाई भी खड़े हैं हम सब बैठ हैं.
Is it ready?
निमेश भाई.
So, Dr. P.T. Shivkumar, he is the professor, HOD of Geriatric Psychiatric
हाँ
Unit.
सविता जी फोन.
Okay, right. Geriatric Psychiatric Unit, Department of Psychiatry at NIMHANS. He was the nodal officer. No, the previous slide. Yeah, he was the nodal officer, Vayomanasa Sanjeevani Initiative by the NIMHANS. He's the nodal officer of National Initiative for Skills Training on Dementia and Mental Health for caregivers of older people in collaboration with NSE Foundation. He's the vice president of Alzheimer's and Related Disorder Society of India, Bangalore chapter. He's the EC member of Indian Association of Geriatric Mental Health, and he has several publications peer-reviewed in peer-reviewed journals, 84. He has authored 4 book chapters, and he has a number of other publications totaling up to 49. So thank you, Dr. Shivkumar, for agreeing to chair the session. Now I would like to have the slide of the next chairperson, Dr. Risal. Professor Ajay Risal, I mean, he has done his MD and MBBS. He has also done his PhD, and he's the associate professor and head of Department of Psychiatry and consultant psychiatrist at Somatic Experiencing Practitioner at Dhulikhel Hospital, Kathmandu University Hospital. He has received the Best Published Paper Award and Gold Medal, Psychiatrist Association of Nepal. He has received the Nepal Vidyabhushan Kashreni, President of Nepal. He is the Vice President, Sanatan Dharma Mahasangh Nepal since February 2021. He is the member of Somatic Experiencing Institute Global Culture Committee since June 2020. He is a board member. He is a central committee member of Mathrubhumi Sevak Sangh since 2018. He is the member of Lifting the Burden, a UK registered NGO, directing the global campaign against headache in official relations with the WHO. He's current editor of Kathmandu University Medical Journal. He's the past editor of Journal of Psychiatrists of Association of Nepal. He has presented more than 40 papers in various conferences, and he has more than 44 publications in various journals as well. He was involved as an ad hoc column writer in different national papers, the Kaltipur, Himalaya, the magazines since 2010. Welcome, Dr. Professor Ajay Risal, sir, for being the chairperson of this session as well. I would like Dr. Ajay Risal to say a few words of introduction.
Namaskar.
Yes, sir, Dr. Ajay Risal, you can say a few words.
Namaskar. Okay. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate Om Asatoma Satgamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya Om Santi Santi Santi. Whatever it is visible as a finite being is also complete, Purna. Whatever is invisible as an infinite being is also complete. Everything is complete. So we should go for completeness. So we say, let's move towards truth from the towards the virtue of truth. Let's move towards light from the darkness, and let's move past what Amrita means, being always Amrita from death. That means we should aim for being Mukta, Moksha. That is the aim. So today's session, we are talking in two issues. One issue is geriatrics, another is spirituality. So geriatrics, as previous speakers have already spoken, that this month, Alzheimer's month, is mainly devoted towards geriatric psychiatry, geriatric Alzheimer's. So, December 2021 in Nepal, in collaboration with WHO and Government of Nepal, Ministry of Health. So that was the geriatric thing. Another thing is spirituality. If we think about spirituality, WHO's definition of health has one important dimension: physical, mental, spiritual, very important dimension. What is spirituality? So spirituality, if we go through, we can think about two ways how spirituality is explained. One is just merely engagement in religious practices, forming a group. And another is which is made through relationship, through conversation, and through religious rituals. So we say in Sanskrit, Vade we have conversations. We have when we go to Ilajuna. Similarly, in all the scriptures of our Eastern philosophy, Hindu philosophy, if we see, there is a dialogue between two, either Shiva and Parvati, or we have dialogue between Rishi and Vyasa and Sukadev, dialogue between Sukadev and other 18 different types of Mahorshis. So, Vade Jayate Tattva Bodha. Similar thing, we say Satsanga, which is very important. Now, today's talk is mainly linked between geriatric and spirituality. We can say that the Satsanga is important means. Geriatric age group, now the whole world is aging. So what happened that due to the advancement in health, due to the advancement in medicine, due to the advancement in education, due to the advancement in sanitation, nutrition, etc., we have good life. The average life expectancy is increasing. In Nepal, for example, we had life expectancy of 57 in 1991. For now, 2018, if we see the average life expectancy has increased to 71. So whole world is aging. And this aging thing is what statistics say is that the aging thing is affecting more to the country like ours, low and middle income countries, India, Nepal, South Asian countries. So aging, one thing is good that we have good health, we have good life expectancy, but in the same vein, due to the world aging, we have some problems. Now, in this case, spirituality is important. Our culture, what our culture used to say was that weeding. So we used to have that elderly people respected in the family, taken care of by the children. But now education, in the search of like a good occupation, people are moving from villages to center to the cities, from cities to abroad, etc. So the elderly people are living confined to home. In that case also, spirituality will help. I have already told you satsanga. If we have the effect of spirituality, the elder people have good satsanga in the spiritual centers, in the case will come down, their boredom will come down, and the other effects, psychosocial effects like geriatric depression, geriatric anxiety, other things can come down. Now, what happens, why spirituality is important? Spirituality is not prayers and religious rituals. That is important for elderly, but from that, prayer, faith, reliance on religion, and to cope. For coping, if we have reliance on some good spiritual power to the God or religion, that will help them to generate peace and bring out the purpose of life and bring out forgiveness and improve the quality of life. So what are the important qualities important for the geriatric? I think our speaker today will talk more about that. What I have found is that respecting the privacy, helping them to connect with their belief systems, whatever their belief system, their belief in the power, belief in the God, belief in the religion, if we help them to belief system, and if we help them to complete their unfinished business before they are living the life and listening to their concerns and comforting and reassuring, that will help. And what are the media? How we can make the people go for the spiritualities, meditation, through yoga, mindfulness techniques, and allowing them to practice their own. For example, in our part of the world, in Nepal, we have now Chaturmasa.
Sir, your voice is breaking off, sir, I think.
Okay. That's okay. So now I request Dr. P.T. Shivkumar sir to kindly introduce the topic and then later introduce our speaker as well.
Thank you, Dr. Naresh. Yeah, I think it is my privilege and honor to actually be in this forum with so many senior people. I think we all consider Dr. Tiwari as our guru in terms of the geriatric mental health. And I think he has been leading this movement all over the country. Dr. Prasad Rao sir already introduced Dr. Tiwari sir. I think.
Can we have first slide, please?
Yeah, please.
Dr. Tiwari slide.
There is actually, I think, for this group, he actually doesn't need any introduction. Everybody knows about him as a kind of our token of respect and our this one. We, as a formality, I would actually go through some of the profile. I think, can you just
Tiwari sir slide,
yeah.
please? Yeah. Dr. Tiwari's slide, please.
Professor Tiwari sir actually founded the geriatric mental health department in KGMU, Lucknow. I think that actually gave a lot of impetus to stimulate this specialty across the country. And he also was the founder of Indian Association of Geriatric Mental Health. And even today, he has been actually the guiding force behind that Indian Association of Geriatric Mental Health, where all of us follow his advice, and then he has been the leading person for every aspects of this association. And he has also been chairman for Mental Health Foundation, Lucknow, Uttar Pradesh, and he was also former medical superintendent. And he has received several awards, including Tilak Venkapura Oration Award, B.B. Sethi Oration Award, Marfatia Oration Award, Dr. Vimala Virmani Award, Shivagotham Oration Award, and IAGMH Intas Award. And he has also been associated with the, I think, International Psychogeriatric Association and Royal College of Psychiatry, Old Age Psychiatry. He got a bursary, and Rafelson 1918 Fellowship Award, and IPA Bayer Award in Psychogeriatrics. He has contributed numerous scientific publications, both as ICMR task force, as well as contributed to the phenomenology. And he developed, I think, a lot of original contributions. And I think the most important thing is the first super specialty department of geriatric mental health, and that is the only department. I think even Nimans, it is a unit. I think the geriatric mental health as a separate status as a department. I think the one and only department is KGMU, which is especially because of the vision and the leadership of Professor Tiwari. And I think I don't want to stand between you and between all of us and Professor Tiwari's talk. I think the co-chairperson, Dr. Ajay, had already introduced the topic with elaborate opening remarks. I think today all of us have come to listen to Professor Tiwari, sir. I think this is an important topic on the occasion of the World Alzheimer's Day, as well as the World International Day of Older Persons coming on 1st October. And I think we can't have any other better person to talk, and we all look forward to listen to Dr. Tiwari's talk. Thank you very much. I thank the organizers for giving me this opportunity to be to introduce sir and also to attend this talk. Thank you.
Shivkumar sir, it is our pleasure to have you on this forum. Now I would request Dr. Rajesh Reddy, the moderator of the session, to start the session and then continue the proceedings.
Yeah, thank you, Naresh Bhai. I'll really be very brief because we just were waiting to hear, sir, 2 points from the Spirituality and Mental Health Task Force. It's not a question of whether spirituality is important in our lives. It's not a question of whether anymore. It is a question of how and what we need to do. So let's get away from all this and let's talk about really how, because this is a message we want to bring across to everyone. And the second thing is, this particular topic is not just important for our patients and our families and our children. It's actually important for every individual who we are, because we will all be getting older one day. We cannot escape from this. You know, we've crossed our youth, we've crossed our teenage years, and everything is done. We are moving on to an age when we need to have a positive mental health, a positive mental health when we are older. And here we are to learn from Sir today how to keep fit even when we have reached the height of a chronological age. So, sir, thank you. Pranam to you, sir, and over to you. Maybe have sir, would you like to do the slides for you, or would you share it from your end?
So you need to.
Sir, please unmute yourself. Sir, kindly unmute. Sir, we can't hear you, sir. Kindly unmute.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Slides on the screen. And as I say, you go on changing the slides.
Yes, yes, yes. Sharwari, kindly host the slides from our end. Thank you, sir.
In the name of great Almighty, both his structured form, which is religion, and his unstructured form, which is spirituality, I say pranam to all the people who are participating in this webinar, which is a Friday Awakening webinar, a befitting name which has been given to this. This topic is very relevant, and more so around World Alzheimer's or Dementia Day, which was on 21st of September, that we are talking about an important aspect of elderly life and how it can be used for the care of elderly people, particularly the geriatric mental people, the mentally sick people. I'm thankful to Dr. Naresh. I'm thankful to Gautam Saha. I'm thankful to my dear colleague G. Prasad Rao and a wonderful, talented colleague Shiv Kumar, Dr. Shrestha from Nepal, and behind the show, Dr. Rajashree Ray, for organizing this important webinar on spirituality in geriatric mental health. With the permission of my chairperson, Dr. Shiv Kumar, and co-chairperson, Dr. Rishal, I now take this opportunity. May I have this next slide, please, to extend a warm greeting from Lucknow, the city of Nawabs. You are seeing all monumental buildings, the year they came into, and our prestigious medical university, the King George's Medical University, and then in one corner, the first super specialty department of geriatric mental health at King George's Medical University. On behalf of my colleagues, on behalf of all elderly people in the world, I say, and I salute them, I extend a warm greeting from Lucknow. May I have the next one, please? There has been a heated debate always between religion and spirituality, and a complete definition of either religion or spirituality have not been documented anywhere. Everyone has explained the definition of religion and spirituality in their own way. Look at this sacred circle, which displays the symbols of almost all religions in the world, meaning thereby that religion has something to do
Bolo.
in a structured
Hello.
form, yes. And on the other hand, if you look at the spirituality, perhaps the unstructured form, which we interpret according to our religious bent, according to our thinking, according to our appreciation of spirituality, its unstructured form. The religious issues, they are practiced in a structured manner, either by some kind of books or some kind of idols or some kind of such structured thing which you can see. On the other hand, the spirituality is something which is beyond the self, beyond ourselves, something more than what you can practice in a structured form. It has to be unstructured in its form. The next one, please. Next one. In this transparency, we are seeing the differences between religion and spirituality. And it again involves the concept of religion being structured and spirituality being a recognition of feeling, our sense, our belief that is something greater than oneself, greater than myself, greater than my thinking, greater than me. On the other hand, religion is practiced by a group of people belonging to the same kind of beliefs, having same kind of guidelines, pursuing those guidelines and working and acting in those lines. It can be Hindu religion, it can be a Mohammedan religion, Christianity, Sikh, whatever. They have their own structured form, they have their own guidelines, they have their own principles on which everyone practices. On the other hand, spirituality may have a bent of these structured forms, but it is much more beyond that. It is much more than structured. And that is why I say it to be unstructured form, what we practice, and we think of spirituality in such a way that it is going to give us the extreme happiness, the bliss, the salvation, or whatever we have not been able to achieve with a spiritual bent of mind, we would be able to achieve that. May I have the next one, please? The religion and spirituality practices that influences the elderly in many ways. If an elderly person practices religion or spirituality, it gives a purpose to life, that he's surviving, he's living for something, to achieve something, to attain something, or to gain something which may be much more satisfying than the materialistic thinking, the things of the world. By practicing religion and spirituality, people, all ages people, including elderly, develop hope, belief, an age-friendly environment in which they can live happily and they can enjoy their being in the world. If you practice religion or spirituality, it gives a kind of impetus to you, and you can, with that impetus, maximize your functional ability, maximize your thinking, maximize your creativity, maximize your physical health, maximize rather everything which can give you pleasure in life. And the one very important aspect of spirituality or religious practices are you develop acceptance for everything. You do not work on rejection, but you work on acceptance. And that is the most beautiful aspect of being religious or spiritual, that you accept people from all across the life. And then the practices of religion and spirituality makes you resilient, makes you tolerant, makes you understand, makes you bear even the bad things in life. You learn to deal with even the bad aspects of every activity, because you become much more resilient, you become tolerant, you have got a positive thinking, and you can, by practicing religion and spirituality, you will never find yourself lost anywhere. You will always find yourself composed, find yourself relaxed, find yourself happy. So practice of religion and spirituality, though important across all age groups, but it is much more important for elderly, where attachments with the world and the materialistic things go on decreasing. May I have the next one, please? Now, you can see in this transparency the different shades of elderly. One may call it to be constitutional, or it is purely environmental, or it is a kind of religious and spiritual practices. Those who have adopted, they remain happy, cheerful. Those who have not adopted, they remain sad, they remain confused, bewildered, and so on and so forth. Now, this is a situation which can be debated without an endpoint. The three important aspects: constitutional, environmental, religious, and spiritual practices, they help grow you into a kind of perfect, if not ideal person. Whether only constitutional factors can account to that, or only environmental, for example, diet, exercise, other things, many other things, or alone religious and spiritual practices can make you feel happy, or whatever you are, in whatever situation, that cannot be said conclusively. Perhaps it is mixture of all these three that makes you feel happy in your life. The next one, please. These are the common issues which an elderly person faces in his life. And this is known to all of you. Nothing to tell about it. I have just brought this transparency to relate the practice of spirituality, how in these areas it can help you to achieve something what you want to achieve. No doubt elderly differ from adults in almost all aspects of life, maybe physiology, psychology, socioeconomic situations. Then elderly population has some additional health issues which are not there in mostly in adults, like delirium, dementia, frailty, and loneliness. The important health issues which matter for the living of elderly people are healthcare, psychosocial issues, financial, residential, legal, environmental, safety and security needs. Elderly suffer with lots of problems. There's a phrase used for their problems like duplicity, multicity, chronicity, polycity, and complexity. It is about their problems, it is about their illnesses. They do not come with single problem. So that is why the concepts of multicity, they live in the concept of duplicity, concept of polycity, chronicity, and complexity. The next one, please. These are the physical health issues, which by practice of spirituality can be perhaps prevented. Their course can be modified to a large extent. The next one, please. These are the common mental health issues with the elderly, wherein spiritual practices and outlook can make an individual lenient, can prevent the occurrence of these problems if spiritual practices are being practiced for these mental health issues. The next one, please. May I have the next one, please? One may ask how spirituality prevents morbidity and manage and promote health and well-being. The spirituality involves in purposeful activity. Once you become spiritual, I wonder one will involve in non-purposeful activities. You have got regard and honors for grief. You develop the abilities to observe things in its right form. You also express gratitude for people if they do something for you, and you develop a tendency to become tolerant, and you learn to forgive people. Your attitude becomes helping for everyone. And if such aspects develop by practice of spirituality, one can say convincingly that this will help in preventing and managing and also promoting mental health in all age groups, including elderly people. The next one, please. This is the Indian way of achieving health promotion through assigned duties during life stages. And if you look after brahmacharya, grihastha, vanaprastha, and sannyasa, where the elderly interested phase of being spiritual, rather it starts from vanaprastha only, and then goes up to sannyasa, where spiritual attainments, spiritual practices, which are not linked to any kind of materialistic issues, they help you build up a world of your feelings, world of your thinking, world of your imagination, world of your, you can say, spiritual freedom, and which you enjoy, which you relish, and which you really love to be in that. And that is how the Indian system has advocated the practice of spirituality mostly towards the end stages of the life. But it doesn't say that don't practice spirituality during brahmacharya and grihastha ashram. But it is more for the vanaprastha and sannyasa. The next one, please. The spirituality in geriatric mental health is quite significant because it balances life, health, and well-being. It develops a kind of determination to do something. It develops ability to cope with loss and changes, which may be at the, say, higher age in life, a very difficult situation to cope up with losses and changes. It improves your living harmony and peace with everyone. It removes confusion. You know what you are, what you're doing, what you're trying to achieve, what is there for you in future, to finally find a kind of salvation, a kind of bliss, a kind of happiness, which can come only by spiritual practices. It a kind of induces wisdom into the elderly people. And whatever confusion in your mind has been regarding other issues like social issues, like educational problems, whatever, that also gets removed. So in this way, you can say that spirituality, if practiced by any age group person, it helps in all these areas. And if it is practiced by elderly people, it certainly helps in making an elderly person happier, happier, and happier. And that is why I say that the practice of spirituality in geriatric mental health is an important aspect. When I conceived the Department of Geriatric Mental Health at King George's Medical University, I got an unit of spiritual healing inaugurated by the then governor of the state of Uttar Pradesh. And that spiritual healing center is being managed by one of my junior colleagues, Dr. Bhupen Singh, who is associated with Brahma Kumaris. And some of our patients who do not improve, the elderly patients I'm talking about, the mentally sick elderly people, they have wonderfully improved with the spiritual therapy what Dr. Bhupen Singh has done. And that was perhaps the first such kind of setup in a teaching hospital in a medical university. The next one, please. Spirituality can be attained by acquiring worldly knowledge, what is known as apara, as well as inner engineering, that is known as para. Know about yourself, know about the world, you will be able to attain spirituality. Atma Deepo Bhava, Atma Sarna Bhava, Ananya Sara Bhava. Soul to be enlightened as a lamp, shelter to be taken in soul. This is the best thing to follow. And if you're really by practice of spirituality, you can take shelter in your own soul. I wonder there can be any kind of trouble to you, any kind of problem to you. That is why we should look into our soul and find final shelter in our own soul. And that is possible only when you know the world, the apara, and know the inside you, that is para. So spirituality is not that it cannot be attained. If you know the world, if you know yourself, you can attain this spirituality. Next one, please. It's a directive transparency where I'm requesting that integrate spirituality with geriatric mental health. I have retired and I am growing old. And now I see, even without wanting, sometimes spiritual feelings come to my mind. And I have a religious bent of mind. I do believe in pursuing, in practicing religion in its structured form. But the moment you move in the realm of spirituality, develop a thinking on spiritual lines of moving beyond yourself, moving close to your soul, you will really enjoy your old age, your life, and perhaps the small issues which elderly face in life, the psychosocial issues, the familial issues, whatever, which I have just spoken to you, they will not trouble you anymore. That is why I have a request to all those who are practicing geriatric mental health. They should try to integrate spirituality with geriatric mental health. During your assessment, take the note of individual's religious bent, his spiritual thinking, understand his spiritual needs, the needs of the elderly in light of his background, in light of his familial life, in light of his psychosocial life, in light of his recreational life, in light of his materialistic attainments and whatever. One has to develop an approach to take the elderly in the realm of the spirituality beyond religious practices. The yoga, the dhyan, where you do not have anything in front of you in a structured manner, but you just connect your soul with the Almighty God and enjoy the bliss of that relationship. If you have religious faith and belief or spirituality oriented strategic interventions that will help in taking care of your patient's problems, and perhaps this healing will start and will be long lasting. Apply different temperaments and communication styles for spiritual intervention and help. Be thoughtful, sensitive, facilitate needs which you want to apply to your patients. Develop the belief that whatever is happening, that has a good reason and it is going to do good, not bad. Literature advocates to integrate spirituality for care of older adults, and there are many. May I have the next one, please? Research publications on this. Which we did with my colleague, Dr. Nishamani Pandey, is published here, which is on the same issue, how Indian concepts of lifestyle and spirituality, religion can be incorporated in mental health in old age. The next one, please. The next one. These are the Indian ways of dividing various aspects of life, what one should do in one, time. The Indian system has divided the Indian life into ashrams. The Brahmacharya ashram, Grihast ashram, Banprasth and Sannyas, about which I have talked. The things which can help you in your life is dharma, money, earth, kam, and moksha. And everybody tries to achieve these things in its best form. You can keep your mind and body fit by Vrat, Niyam, Asan, Pranayam, Pratyahar, Dharan, Dhyan, Samadhi. And then our Indian system has also commented upon some mental problems which are mentioned over there. The next one, please. From the above paper, you can make it out that traditional beliefs and values are still transferred from one generation to another generation. These affect clinical and management of health, behavior, and disease. Whatever we have inherited from our parents, from our families, from our society, from our religion, from our culture, that certainly affects the management, health, behavior, and disease. And that is why the importance of religion and spirituality increases further in management of problems in all age groups, particularly in elderly people. Adherence to the Indian system tackles all health-related issues in all age groups, particularly elderly, and they like it, they love it, they want it. The next one, please. This is another publication, Integrating Spirituality into the Care of Older Adults. Next one, please. There's an article on spirituality in geriatric psychiatry, which says that studies have shown a positive relationship between religion and spirituality and mental health in older population. Health professionals should be attentive to these spiritual needs. Nevertheless, studies are needed to investigate the mechanisms of religious and spiritual mental health, religion and spiritual mental health association more and more, and how to integrate religion and spiritual practices in clinical practice for the geriatric mental health. You might have seen in some of the hospitals where, and there are published reports also, that head injury patients, those who are in stages of coma, they recovery is easier if something from religion or something from their own culture and belief is chanted before them. The hospitals have now such kind of arrangements where they have some kind of this kind of chanting of say shlokas, Ramayana, Hanuman Chalisa, Quran, and other things like that. So that is a way to now give substantial evidence that religious and spiritual practices can help in healing of the problems of all age groups. The next one, please. The next one. And if you want to find ultimate bliss, get beyond yourself. Get beyond your materialistic, your other kind of things. Get close to your soul. Think what your soul really says you. Connect yourself with your soul, not with the materialistic things of the world. And once you do that, I'm sure the spiritual practices will not only help you, but it will help you, help your patients also, the elderly patients also, through you. Thank you very much for giving me a very patient hearing. Thanks a lot.
Professor Tiwari, thank you so very much, sir. It's not just what you said touched each and every one of us. It's actually how you said it as well. The way you delivered, the calmness, the soothingness of each word as it came across, just conveyed the perfect message of how spirituality is not that you read and listen, but it's something that you experience and you practice, and that gets reflected in every interaction that we have in us. So thank you very much. And I hope you're okay with a little bit of more time, 10 minutes to, we have some questions, one from the audience. And then of course, a lot of our seniors are here. So we do have some time to talk, interact with each other, to learn from each other in this journey of our spirituality, which is not, it is sometimes individual journey, but it makes it more beautiful when it happens together. We have a question from one of our colleagues, Dr. Saman Subedi, who is coordinator of the Journey to Inner Peace from Nepal. He has asked, sir, how could you differentiate between religion and spirituality? Sadly, there are a lot of spiritual shops who could not even quite guide the depressed people. So please tell us your suggestions and how should we move forward? Over
Just
to you, sir.
repeat this question differentiate between? Hello?
Sorry, sir, I was muted. Sir, I'll read the
No, no.
question. It's in the chat box, sir. Being the coordinator of the journey to inner peace, how could you differentiate between religion and spirituality? Sadly, there are a lot of spiritual shops who could not even guide depressed people. Please tell us your suggestions. How should we move forward? I think it's a question of a lot of, in the market itself, there are a lot of people who are selling spirituality to sort of in a way. So how should we differentiate between this and how should we make it a part of our lives to help people come out of their mood symptoms and mental illnesses?
Yes, I think this issue remains always a kind of unsolved issue. People talk differently about it. What I have understood is that the structured form of an activity carried out with certain guidelines, with certain group of people belonging to that sect in a structured manner is religion. And an activity or a thinking or an appreciation or a visualization which is done in an unstructured manner in your imaginaries, in your thinking, without any kind of group activity, without any kind of is the practice of spirituality. You just say, oh, you can see when you pronounce Om, the structured aspect of Om is the practice of religion. But the feeling which you get, the realization which you have in your mind after you have pronounced Om, perhaps that is the part of the spirituality. It takes you more in a kind of hypothetical situation, in a perhaps realm of the parapsychology, where it is not structured, where whatever pleasure you derive is only for you. That is how I look at it, that the spirituality is the unstructured form of practice of a structured religious form.
So very nice summary, sir, that spirituality is a form of unstructured practice in a form derived from the structured religion, dogmas and principles and rituals that we have at the moment. So I'll take one more question from the audience before I request our chairpersons to comment on your oration this evening. So we have a question. So there'll be a lot of congratulatory messages in the chat box. The question is, what are the options? What are the options for philosophical counseling for enhancing well-being of all ages, like university students during teaching life? So what are the options for philosophical counseling for enhancing the well-being of all ages? So.
Nowadays, you must be hearing that people are there who are carrying out such kind of activities, either through their organizations, either through their individual activities. And lately, you must have seen that the religious attachment or inclination has increased in the population in general form. Perhaps in a society in which we are living, that if I say something about whatever the current events have happened, that may be talking about a religious aspect and something like to do with polarization. But you must be seeing that people are getting more and more to their religion, and they're getting more and more attached to each other than what it was earlier. And perhaps this happening is a crucial thing. This can guide us, this can give us an indication that we want to develop interpersonal attachments, if we want to make people behave in a healthy, happy, normal way. Perhaps the religious or the spiritual counselings by the experts can help in building such a society in all age groups, in students and other kind of people. That is my feeling. I hope I have been clear to tell you, taking an example from the current happening in the country and the world, that how things can be set aside, right, provided in a focused direction. The religious practices are being taught, or you can say it is being counseled to the, say, people at large.
Yes,
That
sir.
many times in our own clinical practice, we take help of religious counselings, we take help of spiritual counselings. And if that can be extended, if that can help, if that helps rather our patients, so perhaps it will help much more in making people more happy once it is done in a counseling session, perhaps.
Yes, sir. And it never does any harm, isn't it?
Yeah. At
If you
least
do it with the right
Not only
intention, it
that,
will not harm
that,
you.
what sir saying, Rajeshri, what sir
Yes,
is
sir.
saying is that absolutely there is evidence-based study. Those who have belief on religion, the religion counseling is very much effective for them as far as mental health is concerned.
And sir has shown some papers as well, which is helpful for us to go back and read. So over to our chairpersons now, Professor Shivakumar and Professor Risal.
Actually, I think I take this opportunity to thank Professor Tiwari sir for actually an enlightening talk. All of you would agree that he has given a complete overview of this topic in a lucid manner. And as spirituality is something which is applicable for mental health for everybody, but elderly persons or geriatric mental health, it has even more significant kind of relationship. And many of us in our practice, we use that as a very useful tool, both in terms of psychotherapy practice as well as even in persons with dementia, when we use reminiscence, when we use activities in rehabilitation sense, or in a lot of aspects on prevention in old age homes or for healthy aging, promoting healthy aging. Sir has highlighted as to various aspects where even from a subsyndromal health problems or from a positive aging to somebody with dementia or other psychiatric disorders, how the concept of spirituality can be helpful, and how we need to be sensitive to this aspect when we practice this. and that will help us to connect with the persons, with the when any elderly person whom we are handling, and that can be used in the therapy, or it can be used in the intervention. And I think that is something like many of our, I think in our culture, in many of the settings, in particularly in the rehabilitation centers and in the old age homes, it has been used effectively. And sir, I think the message what you have given, I think all of us are quite convinced, and this is something which we will take it up in terms of, many of us will take it up in the practice. And it was very useful, sir. Thank you very much. And I thank the organizers for this opportunity. And it was a very wonderful evening where we were able to learn a lot of things from Professor Tiwari, sir. Over to the other co-chairperson, Dr. Ajay.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. It was nice to hear from Tiwari, sir, regarding so many aspects of spirituality in the context of geriatrics. So, he explained how our culture has modeled the spirituality at the passes, like giving the example from he is talking about brahmacharya to grihastha, then banprastha to san. So as we age, our what will be our goal to reach, to obtain dharma, artha, kama, moksha. So it was very nice to hear from him, and it was a very pleasant occasion to talk about spirituality. So I'd like to thank the presenter Tiwari sir, chairperson Shiva Kumar sir, Naresh sir, and Rajshri ma'am, everyone to give me, to provide me to learn. Thank you.
Sir's line is
Muted, sir. You need to unmute.
As we wait for Sir, Naresh bhai, would you like to take over? And if our seniors want to comment on
Firstly,
any
let our seniors comment, sir. The Gautam is there,
till sir
Dr.
comes
Sadharav
back.
sir is there, Dr. Ramnan Irat, Dr. Tufan Pati, I think they are there. So let them have their word. Sir, Gautam da, you need to speak.
Nothing to say more. Actually, sir explained everything, and it is a wonderful deliberation. But what I am saying regarding the spirituality and religion, only one thing is very important, that spirituality is very vast. It is, you cannot find boundary. But religion, there is a boundary. In my, either Hindu or Christian, or actually does not have any boundary. What sir says exactly, it is feelings. And religion is definitely, there is boundaries, some methods, we have to follow that. Thank you, sir, again for wonderful presentation. We have learned a lot from you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Gautam da, for that wonderful words again. And Dr. Prasadarav sir, do you want to unmute and speak?
Not very much. See, after Doyen spoke about spirituality,
Right.
in the way he naturally spoke, I think I am overwhelmed with joy and happiness, and I think we'll carry the happiness further. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Now, Dr. Ramnan Irat sir, do you want to unmute and speak few words? Dr. Ramnan Irat sir. You need to unmute, sir. Probably is offline. Anyone? Dr. Dhruba Shresthaji, please.
My query is, in India and in our country, I mean, say like the population are rising, and we see so many gurus and so many preachers teaching different kind of spirituality, not probably religion. So they're coming, and we have very much a good amount of followers to every sect, like art of living, one example, art of living, the other is Sadguru, and the third is another guru, the fourth is all teach spirituality. Suppose if we can bring out some kind of a structured kind of guidelines suitable to our country, suitable to our culture, that what are the structures which we should follow for learners and to starters to learn the real gist of spirituality, which will help us. Now we are all, whatever, we are more confused. I mean, say like, have to see this. Now we have one guru today, there are another sect which goes to follow another guru. So if we can, if our professors and other leaders of spirituality could come out with some kind of a common, very simple guidelines to follow the spirituality and try to transform yourself in a simple way that can be useful for other educated, minimal educated geriatric mass population. Thank you. That's my suggestion.
Thank you, Dr. Dhruva Shresthaji. Anyone else who wants to talk?
Shubhangi ma'am is there.
Just unmute.
Our last episode speaker, madam, is there as well.
Dr. Shubhangi madam, sir, madam, do you want to unmute and speak? I think madam is not there. Anyone else who wants to talk? I think Dr. Tiwari ji, I'm really overwhelmed and awed at your presentation and the diction, stressing on points which are very important, very significant. That was very profound as well. And there's one point that struck me in this whole conversation, in this whole talk about religion, the importance of religion and importance of being non-religion as well. So there is something called as non-religion and being importance of religion, and spirituality is beyond these two. Spirituality is beyond, say, non-religion and religion. And yes, religion does help in, say, giving a purpose to the elderly, but by your papers, I mean, you have shown us that spirituality gives much more effect on the elderly age group, because that gives a much more better purpose of life than the religion kind of a purpose of life. So I think, yes, spirituality is much more significant in elderly. And with this few words, anyone else who want to just raise their hands and talk, or yes, Dr. Dhruva Shresthaji, again. You have to unmute and talk, sir. Madam, sir.
I would like to add one more word to what Dr. Naresh has expressed. Spirituality, we're trying to learn, we are trying to imbibe, and basically for what? For changing ourselves, our attitude, and trying to gain something from the nature, to transfer yourself, right? And that spirituality teaches us a lot of knowing ourselves, which Dr. Tiwari has mentioned again and again. Know yourself, know your capacities, know your relation, know yourself, and then transform from that to gain a little bit higher, going a little step higher to have communication again. Two is compassion, fellowship, and what we learn is service to others. I think spirituality teaches us three main important things: is service to others, know yourself, know your reality, have compassion, be useful to others. I think this is what every religion teaches us, and that makes us a little bit spiritual if we have learned. That's all I want to add. Thank you.
In fact, like my great grandmother, she was alive till around 8 years back, and she was 94 years, but she was still mobile at that time. And then I said, just on a normal conversations which was going on, I asked her, why do you work? I mean, why do you move here and why can't you rest? What she said is, my time has not come yet. I'll work timeline. So though these are very simple words, that my time has not come yet, and I'll work till my time has come, these are profound spiritual learnings. I mean, I don't know. I mean, she's completely uneducated. She has not gone to any ashram. She has not gone to any universities, or she has not studied any scriptures or anything. But even this kind of simple terms, right, have deep, profound meanings when we take extract from the elderly people, especially. Right. Thank you, sir. If no one else has any other things to say, then I'll ask Dr. Praveen Varatkar to kindly.
Naresh bhai, I think Shubhangi ma'am, something wrong with her microphone. So she's just left a chat message. Kindly read that out then on her behalf,
Okay.
please. And then we can move to the vote of thanks.
Dr. Subhagi Pakar, he has left the message that spirituality brings in meaning and purpose in life, which we feel secure. I think that's very true, madam. So that's what the purpose of life is defined by our spirituality, our orientedness, and probably, I mean, biologically oriented psychiatrists or biologically oriented people would say that even spirituality has basis in our genes. Only those people who have spirituality in their genes, gradually over a period of time, they will get oriented towards or move towards spirituality, or try to understand spirituality in a much more better way. Right. So with this, I'll just end. Dr. Praveer?
Yeah. Very good evening to all. And as it comes to the fag end, after long time, we have achieved what we are thinking. To start with, both of the chairperson has done a wonderful job, and my all special thanks goes to Tiwari Saab. Tiwari Saab has done presented so well, so practical tips for the geriatric population, and in fact he has incorporated religion and spirituality, differentiated it, and it is now crystal clear that the spirituality incorporation in, at least in geriatric practice, is need of the hour. In fact, not a single religion can be left where the spiritual practices are not incorporated. In fact, spirituality is much more, and Tiwari Saab has done so well justice to his subject that um, that I am overwhelmed. In fact, I'm finding I'm at the loss of good word to express my thanks and gratitude toward him. Uh, and as with each in every session, Rajeshri Rai ma'am is been at the helm to provide the support and encourage us and to bring out best in us. And so is complemented by Naresh bhai. And we are very thankful for the IPS national body for giving this spirituality into this. And in fact, I urge that IPS national body should now come up with the idea of printing some guidelines so that each and every mental health professional start following. At least they should recommend, and now we are in position to recommend to the UG syllabus as well as the PG syllabus that each and everyone should have a psychiatry and spirituality combined, that it should goes, the message should goes that spirituality is ingrained into the psychiatry curriculum. With this, I thank each and everyone for the active participation, and like to see you in next 15 days for one more fulfilling webinar. Over to you, Naresh bhai and Rashri ma'am.
Thank you, Dr. Praveer, for those wonderful words. Thank you, Tiwari ji, for the excellent lecture, and Dr. P.T. Shivakumar, HOD of NIMHANS and Geriatric Psychiatry, and Dr. Risal as well from Nepal, who has all the way has joined. Though there was some connectivity issue in the initial period, I think we all could understand what he was conveying at all. Now I'll end this session. So Dr. Rajeshri, madam, you can take over and say the final words.
So thank you to everyone. My heartfelt thanks to CIPLA for sponsoring, for hosting this event as well. And as the spirituality task force and it's all the members who join, we have a regular colleagues, who join this group. We are like a one big extended family. And unfortunately, one of our most senior members is not very well. So we send our prayers for his very speedy recovery and wish Dr. Avdesh Sharma sir he recovers soon. So a joint prayer. Let's all pray in our hearts for him.
Right.
And till then, we meet in 2 weeks' time. That I think is the 8th of October, when it's near the World Mental Health Day. So we'll get another grand opportunity to talk about mental health and spirituality once again. Till then, good health to everyone and wishes and prayers for everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.
And good night.
Thanks. Thank you.
Thank you.
So we can stop the recording.
Rajesh,
Sir,
say
thank
1
you so
minute.
very much.
Wonderful job. And Dr. Prabir also, what he
Gautam da.
suggested, what Dr. Prabir suggested, you can come up with a hard copy of each session, which you can publish IPS in ANSIPS.
Okay, sir. So we
Each
can get it
session.
transcribed and we can do this. So this particular session is in, sir.
Not only
Gautam, sir?
particular session, all the session.
All this.
Yes, yes.
Each
I mean,
session,
what you mean the series, sir, isn't it?
Yes,
Series, yeah.
we can do that.
Yes, sir. The plan is after we finish the 12 episodes. In fact, World Psychiatric Association has also asked us to do this with IPS. So all these 12 sessions together will be transcribed in the end and published, sir, as an ebook. Sir, if you remember, sir, the first episode when you and Professor Javed, we were chairing, this was discussed and we said, yes, we will do it, sir, for you. So after the 12 sessions are over, we will certainly do it from the task force.
Right.
Thank you.
Gautam, there?
Thank you.
I am there, but network is disturbing very much.